Corner crew, welcome back to another episode of the Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast. I am your host, Brad Baily. As always, we appreciate you for tuning in. Shout out to everybody out there tuning in. And I hope everybody saw we dropped the flyer for our show coming up. Culture Corner presents The Foundation, celebrating 50 years of hip hop, coming out of Southbridge, Massachusetts, August 4th. No tickets, no games, just show up, $20 at the door, come on in. It's going to be a good time. But without further ado, let's welcome our guest for this evening. Young lady coming out of Brockton, Massachusetts, Veana Marie.
What's going on?
What's going on, girl? Thank you for coming on.
I appreciate you so much for having me.
Welcome to the show. So the way I like to start this off is for anyone that doesn't know who you are, that doesn't follow you on social media, tell us who you are.
My name is Veana Marie. I oftentimes go as V because people don't usually say my name right. That's how that actually originally came about. And I'm a musician. I've been studying music my whole life, and I have been actively working as an artist for the past 5 years. So I'm just a mom and a musician.
Right, juggling that life. That's a tough life to juggle too. That really is. You're doing two full-time jobs basically.
I mean, my story's a little bit different because I know that I look young, but I'm not young. My kids are, 3 out of 5 of my children are grown. So, it's easier. I basically took a hiatus from making music for about 15 years.
Hmm.
And when I did get back into it, I was making music, but I really wasn't releasing music. Um, I just, it was like more of an emotional dump for me
Right.
to see if I even wanted to get back into the recording process and going through, all the hassles that go along with being an artist. Um, and it was like I had to make a choice. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Back then, um, to be able to be an artist full time in music, it would require a team. You know what I
Right.
mean? There was not access to an active internet the way that we have it now. You know what I mean? I've seen memes and some videos posted lately that remind me of how old I am. Like I'm older than Google.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So put that in perspective as somebody who, was making music in their teens and in their early 20s and then jump forward, you know what I mean, 20 years.
Hmm.
So I don't regret it for a second. Your children should be your first priority. If I had young children now in today's day and age, I probably would still be making music, but I definitely took that time off to focus on them and then gradually got back into it full time. So it's basically having the time to do it and the desire.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you had priorities that trumped music, so
Right.
you put family first, which is right. Definitely the right thing to do. So having a career way back when, I'm not saying it as way back when, but it is. Because I feel I'm older than Google too. You know what I mean? But what's it like now trying to get back into it the past 5 years?
As far as what it's like, I feel like at this stage in the game, um, the entertainment business is what you make of it. And I say that because a lot of people get caught up in these generalizations of, oh, the city doesn't support, or, nobody comes and, nobody promotes the right way, or, nobody, everybody has something negative to say instead of trying to, band together and do something more positive.
Right.
And, that's just, I feel like that's been the environment here as long as I've lived in Massachusetts. And I've lived in Massachusetts and moved down south and lived down south for a long time. But I feel like that's a consistent energy here.
Yeah. There's a lot of unity in the underground scene coming up now that it's a lot stronger because of the internet, but there is that divide. You're right. We talk about that a lot in the podcast. Is that the level of support and how people people do complain that no one supports them, but then again, you're right, they don't promote themselves the right way. So you do have someone behind you, Keith, your manager. I
Yes,
met
my manager. Yep.
that.
I met my
He's
manager
great.
5 years ago, and I had gone through two managers officially prior, and then was kind of managing myself. And it I did Keith's podcast show. We kept corresponding, and it just made sense. He was helping me get leads and get shows, so it just ended up working out.
Right, it definitely helps. It helps to
Yes,
have somebody in your corner.
absolutely.
I tell a lot of people that because like you know, I'm sure you work a full time job too, like everybody else. We're all working, we're all hustling, and you need help.
I
You really do in this game.
I do not work a consistent full-time job. Let's
That's it.
let's throw that out there.
Good,
I
good,
do
good.
a lot of odd jobs and work out there like a lot of other people, but honestly, if you're going to have a career in music, you have to be able to have a balance somewhere.
Hmm.
And I wasn't going to get back into this if that balance was going to, stop me from being able to do the things I needed to do as far as my responsibilities went. You know
Right,
what I mean? You don't want to have a false narrative about you out here. And I feel like there's a lot of gossip and a lot of rumors that go around and get spread about people. So I think it's important that in this industry and in this game in general, that you're 1,000% transparent.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
People are
have.
going to believe whatever the hell they want to believe.
Hmm.
I don't have anything to hide. So if you got any questions, you can ask me.
Especially business wise, you have to be transparent, especially with the internet, because somebody's gonna find something out about you anyway. And if you're
Yes,
lying and you're hustling people, it's gonna come back to bite you because there's some sort of paper trail out there for
that's right.
sure. But I
That's
want to
right.
talk about your influences coming up. Who are you most influenced by?
Well, I was heavily raised in the church, in my earlier years. So I had a lot of gospel influence. I was influenced a lot by really big hearty singers, the Aretha Franklins, the Mariah Careys, Whitney Houston's. The 90s and the 2000s introduced, that light vocal style. You had the Aaliyahs, you had the Mayas, and I liked that it worked. You know what I mean? They were different than the Mariahs and the big voice girls, but it still worked, and their swag was crazy. Like, who didn't want to be Maya? You know what I mean? Dancing in the desert.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like, those are heavily my influences. And then, like, not for nothing, Eve, huge influence on the reason why I really like to rap. Lauryn Hill, um, you know what I mean? Queen Latifah. There's a laundry list of female artists that have influenced my desire to want to make that kind of music part of what I do.
Right. And all those ladies that you mentioned, they all did their own thing too.
Facts,
They all
facts.
like Lauryn Hill. I mean, you can say what you want about her personally, but as an artist, Lauryn Hill is top tier. There's no denying that. From Fugees to her solos, the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is a great album.
Yeah.
Excellent album. A lot of people don't put it in its place where it deserves because of any of the controversy that surrounds her. So how do you stay away from controversy? That's a good question.
I mean, you can't have too many people in your business because that's usually how controversy starts. You start off with the facts and then it just multiplies from there. So, you know what I mean? With everybody telling a new version of the story, that's how it becomes different.
Yeah.
So, I just keep to myself. I'm not one of those artists that is gonna, you know, pass out and die if they don't go out on the weekend and be seen.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? My career is a job. So everything about what I do for an event is very, meticulously planned, thought out, laid out. I don't like running behind. I don't like when people aren't taking me seriously. I don't like when people get over inebriated and are drinking too much or smoking too much because we can't get any work done. You know what I mean? Just like, I know that people like to use music and the entertainment business as, a hobby for them because they do have those full-time jobs that you were talking about earlier. You know what I mean? That's their main focus. I get it. I get it. When I had small kids, I literally could not not go to work.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to make a sacrifice. In today's day and age, you don't have to make that sacrifice anymore. It's easier to make music, put it on a platform, get promotion and advertising. And if you do it the right way, you'll make traction. I like my growth because it's been organic,
Right.
it's been gradual. My following has grown over the last 5 years, exponentially. So it is not, this business is not for the faint of heart. If you're expecting to pop off in a year or two from when you started, that does not happen very often, and it does not happen without a lot of funding behind you. So unless you have, a good 10 to 15 grand to start off, you're not going to blow up right away. And I'm okay with the pace. I think that I have in the past dealt with people that were more upset that I wasn't bigger than I am than me. You know what I mean? And I get it. If you're a fan, I get it. I appreciate the love and the support. But I'm out here beating the pavement and doing the same thing that every other artist that has come before me and worked their asses off to get there has done. I mean, you hear stories all the time about artists living in their cars before their big break happens. You know what I mean? And that's what people don't get. Today, nobody knows you, but tomorrow you could wake up with something crazy that happened overnight.
Definitely. I like to say it's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's right.
It definitely is, because
That's right.
any side of the game that you're on, if you're in this entertainment field, nothing happens overnight whatsoever. And I was super frustrated when I first started out with the podcast. Like after doing 30 episodes, 40, you're like, all right, come on now, come on. And now I'm just like, all right, well, if I get so many people watching, that's great. Those people are watching every single week.
I tell people, if you're doing this to make it, you're going to be really disappointed, because the percentage of people that make it the way that you're thinking, like the Cardi B's and the Migos and the Megan Thee Stallions, that takes a lot of work and a lot of money. And it's very, very few times do you get the Gorillas and the Scarlets that, seem to appear out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And like, not for nothing, Scarlet's been out since like 2018.
Right.
So the fact that she got this track and it just blew up, and within 4 weeks, her entire life was different.
Oh,
That
totally.
is a testament to how this business literally can work for somebody who does the shit the right way. And the right way is not one way, because not everybody works the same way. You know what I mean? And finding the right team to work together, that's key.
Definitely, right. Go back to Scarlet. What, tomorrow you open for Scarlet?
Yes,
That's
yes.
a good.
Scarlett
That's a
is
dope
coming
hit
to.
right there.
Yes. You know what? The minute I saw her pop up on my timeline about this show, I had to consider it. And I don't usually do these kinds of shows. This is a much bigger venue for me. There's a much bigger, much more people are, planning on being in attendance, because it's Scarlett. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to be in a different environment. And not that I don't love my local spots, but as an artist, if you're not promoting your brand in different places, you're just going back like a residency. And if they're not paying you, then you're really just wasting your money and your time, because you could have taken that time that you're back at the same spot you were performing at last weekend and taking your whole set to a different town, doing the same thing with a different crowd, and maybe gaining 3 or 4 fans that you can talk to, you can connect with. Because eventually the goal is for you to be big enough where you just have to get on stage and get off. You don't have to go into the crowd and mingle and interact with folks. You know what I mean? That's the end game right there. You know what I mean? But people get focused on the fame, the fortune, the swag, the clothes, the jewelry. And yeah, we get into it for the glam. The glam up is dope. But where's the artistry lately?
It's
You know what I mean?
lost.
Where's the bars? Where's the quality in the art? Because I feel like over the last 10 years, it just keeps dwindling down. And we're basically just saying anything is hot because, a wave of kids thought that somebody was good looking. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's just a weird thing for me.
It's the oversaturation of the industry now. also because and the internet could be a bad thing. It can be a great thing, but the oversaturation of the amount of product that we have to consume now. Every week you have, just in hip hop alone, you have 23, 37 releases on a Friday. That's a tough thing for people to even, that's why a lot of people think they're not being supported, is you're not being seen because you're being buried by all these other releases.
Well, they're not. They're also not being seen because they're not putting their music on curated lists. Well, where you basically are you have to pay for promotion, advertising, and marketing for your music. This is a business. You know what I mean? You can't just hope that people are going to like you and support you. You have to market what you're promoting. You have a product, so you have to treat it like a product, and you have to pay for advertising, billboards, commercials, your Google ads, your Facebook ads, your Instagram ads. All of those things are not you buying likes or buying views. That is you paying for your own advertising and promotion. What Beyonce and Jay-Z do, they have a they have an advertising company that takes
Mm.
care of that. You know what I mean? But they have people for everything. You have to remember, as an independent artist, you're literally doing the job of about 5 to 6 people, and that's just in the beginning stages. Once they get huge, you got a whole team of folks fucking following you around.
Mm.
You know what I mean? This is a business. I don't do this so that people can hear me sing on Friday night at my local spot. I do this as a business.
Right.
And every move that I make has to make financial sense. You know what I mean? And once you start looking at it like that, you start getting aggravated when you see other people
It's true.
seem to be pushing straight through and past you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's also like you said. So whoever thinks is somebody's cute or the TikTok hit or something, you never know what's going to blow up, what's going to go viral these days, because everything is so fly by night and everybody so wants that instant gratification. So everything has to rapidly change. It is.
Correct.
It's a wild. It's a crazy business. You know, it really is. But you seem to
Well,
know what you want and seem to know where you're going with it.
I I did the label thing. I had my own label for a while. And then I decided to drop my artists and just focus on writing and branding.
Mm.
And I created my label to support that, but not like I didn't want to be an artist on the label that I owned. I thought that was tacky.
Right.
So I, left that alone and I went and I did the label thing. And it just happened that, as soon as I got signed, we hit COVID, everything got shut down. It basically killed that entire experience. My contract ran out before, COVID really allowed us to really get back out there and do anything. And I don't think I want to go back to a label. I think I want to stay independent as long as possible. I think the best way to do this is to find a team. You know what I mean? Find other like-minded people that, have the same end goals as you and are going to take it as seriously as you're going to take it. Because, I got people talking shit all the time about my age. You know what I mean? Oh,
Right.
I can't believe you have the balls to be in your 40s and doing music. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize there was an expiration date on how long you could make music. You know what I mean? But, I get it. Some people can't let go of this idea that music is only for young folks. They control the temperature at the moment. They control what's popular right then and there. That's the only thing young people do. Because if you pay attention, your old artists were young stars.
Right.
You know what I mean? So make it make sense. And then they're still famous. You know what I mean? You got people that get into this business and 2 years in, they're giving up. They never get seen.
And there's still artists from the '90s that are making millions and millions of dollars. You're right. You're right. It's longevity. It's your work ethic. It's how much you're willing to put into it. It's really what it is. So, but I want to.
I just want to be a well-rounded artist. I want to be able to go into a studio. I want to write with people. I want to vibe with folks. I want to make sure that the the end product quality is on point.
Right. And that's key. because if you don't have the product, that people aren't going to buy it. You're right, and it is a business and it's a product, and that's the end goal is to sell. You're absolutely right. I want to move on to a little segment here we have. It's called "What's Your Issue." Now, what's your issue could be your little pet peeve, or it could be a world-ending issue to you. So, Viana Marie, what's your issue?
My issue is I feel like people tend to lack boundaries and respect these days. I think that the internet has really been a great source of information. I think that you can definitely utilize the services for, reaching out to people that don't live close to you. I think there's great benefits, but I also think there's horrible, horrible benefits of the internet. And I think that it gives people this false sense of security, like you can't get punched in the throat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they just say anything and whatever pops into their head, that just comes out of their mouth. It's like no home training.
Hmm.
I wasn't even allowed to have my elbows on the table when I was a kid.
For real.
Like, are y'all serious?
For real.
So
They
I
don't get
think
it.
disrespect is at an all-time high.
Yeah, they don't. And one thing that drives me crazy now is all these YouTubers that are playing all these like pranks on people, running up in people's houses, going by taking their dog and running away with it. It's like, what are you doing? A
Trying
kid,
to get shot?
a
That's what
kid
they're
did get
doing.
shot.
They're trying to get shot.
A kid did get shot a few months back. He was playing a prank. He would walk into like supermarkets and walk away with your cart or something after you've already paid. Yeah, yeah. And he approached the wrong gentleman who had some really severe mental illness, and the guy pulled out a gun on him and shot him twice. The kid lived. Hopefully he'll learn his lesson, but he probably won't. But
I hope after getting shot in the chest twice, he does.
it's wild. It's so wild what people would do for what they call clout nowadays. It really is.
I mean, cloud chasing has been going on for years,
Mm.
but it's so easy now.
Mm.
Everybody has a camera
Yeah,
in their
camera in your
phone.
face. Camera in
I
your face.
mean, you have a live feed to a social media platform that services the planet. You know what I mean?
Wild.
And that's just real talk. Anybody, I could go if I was to go live and record some controversial shit. I promise you, it would go viral. I would have 5-figure numbers up there.
Hmm.
But let me post some music links.
Right. And you'll see nothing. It's the algorithm.
Nada.
Those algorithms hate trying to really promote yourself, and then they want the controversy. They want all the dumb shit. And
I mean, and you have to understand, social media, it's supposed to be social. It's supposed to be fun. So I get it. Like if some people don't like a whole lot of promos on their feeds and on their timelines, so they might, hit one of the settings on Facebook to have your stuff not come up that much on their algorithm.
right.
So I get all that. And if that's the case, then absolutely, have limited contact with my page. But I don't use social media for anything other than promoting music, my people's music. I might post some funny shit or some uplifting shit, but I don't like when people use social media as, a weapon to hurt other people.
Mm.
So I stay away from all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Social, it's supposed to be social. And a lot of people use it that way. So they're going to comment and they're going to have an opinion. What happens is you put a public comment out there, and then a lot of people get upset when people give their thoughts and opinions back. Now, if that be the case, you need to change your settings so that you cannot receive comments or limited contact.
Right.
I mean, it's really that simple, but people will love going back and forth on these posts for days. I don't have time to sit here and read that novel. Y'all are crazy.
They want to use it as their personal diary. That's what I say. If every social media platform is your personal diary, put your whole life out there. Let's just talk about everything. Yeah, it's wild. It really is.
You know how many people have told me that I would blow up if I would talk more about my personal life story, like my childhood and everything? And I get it. Like a lot of people, they have no problem being vulnerable. And I really like the younger generations, I don't really like cameras. I don't really like being filmed. I don't really like having my picture taken. So I really like the fact that these kids are kind of used to being filmed.
Mm.
So, I don't have an issue with them utilizing their platforms to get some shit off their chest, no matter how they have to do it. You know what I mean? I just don't want to be subjected to the same shit all the time.
Right. It is the same stuff over and over and over again.
My girls are always in my ass about the fact that I don't do enough TikToks. You know what I mean? I don't see myself, doing those little choreographed dances and maybe some skits. Maybe we'll do some skits, but we're working on it. We're kind of
TikTok,
revamping stuff.
TikTok is definitely a good platform to utilize. It's one of those platforms where you could really build up your numbers. I have noticed that. I've done all my research on it, and it really is one of the top platforms to do that. But you know how it is with the United States too, especially us. We're all, oh no, it's spies, and it's just another social media platform. They're
It's
all watching everything, so there's no way you can get away with that. So
it's less conspiracy for me and more like the short video attention span.
hmm,
You know what I mean? Like those videos can be, however long people make them. I think up until maybe 3 or 4 minutes. I don't think you can
yeah,
go past that.
something like that.
Um, but people, if you pay attention to the stats, people are scrolling through with 7-second intervals.
Hmm.
That says a lot about people's attention span and a lot about why people make short tracks now. While your songs used to be 4 to 5 minutes, they're now 2 to 3 minutes, if
Right.
that.
Yeah,
You know what
whole
I
bunch
mean?
taken
People
away.
have no time. They get bored. They hear a beat, they like it, they bop in, they listen to the lyrics, they like the first verse, and then they're changing the track. I'm like, if you touch my radio one more time.
Hmm. Oh yeah. It's same
Man,
thing
I
with
come from the
YouTube.
generation where if you missed your favorite part, you rewound that shit
Hmm.
and you did it again.
Right. Or you had to wait by the radio for them to play it again. Then you're waiting hours.
Right, right.
But yeah, it's the same thing with YouTube. You know, you go through your analytics and you're like, oh, everybody's watching for 35
Right.
seconds. It's like, come on, it's so tough to try to get people to actually sit and watch. So it's the instant gratification.
See,
Um,
I would recommend to any artist to pay attention to people that make YouTube video content, like makeup artists and stuff like that, because they know how to grab the attention for that first 15 seconds and then keep it. You don't know how many of those videos I've got sucked into, not just because I have to do my own makeup, but because I'm interested in whatever it is that they're talking about. Because oftentimes they'll be talking about something else. You know what I mean? So I'm for it. People need to do their research,
all right.
study other folks because other folks are already doing it. You know what I mean? And like you said, you got discouraged. I find people get discouraged really fast
Mm,
and they think that this is something that's supposed to happen. Look, you're supposed to think you're great. If you're an artist, you're supposed to think you're great. Now it's your job to make everybody else think you're great. And you can't do that by throwing your song on the internet and hoping that people receive it. It's
exactly.
just not realistic. If
You're
you're not, if your stuff isn't in an algorithm somewhere pumping out naturally, like people who just throw on the YouTube and just let it run, you know what I mean? You have to learn how to get into those algorithms.
mm,
I mean, there's a science to this whole thing. It's crazy.
it really is. It takes a lot of work. It's not. You're right. You can't just post something and hope it goes well. You really can't. But I want to move on to a little something we like to talk about here too. It's tales from the internet. Tales from the internet could be a wild, crazy story. I'm sure you have quite a few from these people just wildly hitting you up out of nowhere. So, what's your crazy tale from the internet?
My DMs are just ridiculous. It's a lot of people talking to themselves, a lot of bold people. I mean, I don't even want to get into how disgusting people are
It's wild.
on
I got
both sides of the
to
fence
imagine.
too. It's not just men. It's not just y'all. Trust me.
Right, right. Oh, I can imagine. Humans are crazy animals. We really are. Like no filters at some point. Like we could just say anything we want to somebody because, like you said, you're behind that keyboard. It really is. It does
Right.
get crazy. But what do you got coming up for shows? Anything coming out?
Well, we talked about Scarlet.
Yes, sir.
I'm doing that tomorrow. On Saturday, apparently rain or shine, Juneteenth is popping off in Brockton, so I will be there performing. I'm hoping to get back out to Rhode Island tomorrow night to go and support Infamous Ma at her show. Shout out to Infamous Ma. She is on my last project. The song with her is called Time to Grow Up. And after that, I am crossing my fingers and I'm hoping to get myself booked on an opening slot for Trina when she comes in July. That's my goal. I'm hoping that happens. So, and I don't usually put that out in the air, so that is exclusively for you.
Now, as a female in this game, how do you feel the unity is with other female artists?
Um, I'm like I said, I'm a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that competitive edge with other females is something that you kind of have to go through in your 20s and 30s and kind of outgrow. I support people. You know what I mean? I support all these female artists out here because it's hard. It's hard to be a female artist. And I know you probably hear this from a lot of female artists, but I can't stress enough how much easier it is to walk into a club and be a man as opposed to be a woman. You know what I mean? The pressure alone of just walking into the club, never mind of having to get on stage and be in front of everybody's eyes because now the spotlight is on you. Never mind that, you're already getting met with that, intense energy as soon as you walk through the door. So on top of that, it just becomes like a battleground. You got females competing for attention over here, and you got people drinking too much over there. So, it can be crazy, but that tends to end up in the younger crowds. You know what I mean? And being that I'm out there, that's why you'll see me stay to myself. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not the kind of person that needs a whole bunch of attention. I'm happy, sitting at my table, sipping on my liquor and enjoying what's going on. You know what I mean? I do, like I said, I take what I do very seriously. You're not going to catch me out in the streets or at a show, falling down crazy. I'm just
Right.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, no, it's not worth it. Especially now with cameras too, they'll catch you on camera and they'll put it out there in the world.
And
then
and I'll go viral for that, right?
right,
That is
right,
what
and
I go
then
viral for.
everybody, I'm telling you, that's exactly it. The controversy sells. Like we get. I already said we gotta stop making up like fake controversies and shit, trying to get everybody hitting.
It's
Stop
not like
making up.
it's not like it hasn't been done. You know what I mean? Fake beef has been the drive behind a
Right.
lot of artists' careers. You know, believe me, don't believe
Hell
me.
yeah.
Hey, I
It's
believe what I
wild and it
believe.
works.
It does work because controversy sells.
It works too. That's what's crazy about it. It does, and it's sad. It's sad that especially we as a society we've come so far, but also we haven't learned a lot of lessons at all, and it's pretty sad. It really is. But
We
we're gonna be
repeat
wrapping
that
it up
cycle.
here
I
in a few
also
minutes.
I
So
wanted to tell you, I also am releasing last year when I released It's Personal, I released a pre-release that included
yeah,
2 additional tracks, and I'm going to be releasing those tracks next week. So you guys can look forward to that.
so
If you follow me and you are looking for new music, it's technically not new. It has been available to the people that pre-ordered the CD, and I think it was like 30 people that pre-ordered my CD. So shout out to y'all 30 people that got the CDs, the T-shirts, the cups, and all the other goodies that I sent you. Um, and my Christmas album. That's the other thing that's coming out this year. So by the end of this year, I will have done 10 albums in 10 years.
not bad. That's a grind. That's a grind for sure. I was just about to say we're about to wrap it up and tell us what you're going to be coming up with and what's coming out and where we can find you.
I am everywhere. If you Google me, I think I have like the first 4 pages. But the only reason that is the way that it is because I've never changed my name or email or anything on social media since I opened it. It was the first thing that somebody in the business said, Don't go around changing your name. Don't try to rebrand yourself because you literally have to start from scratch when you do that. So I said, all right, cool. So I've been Veana Marie for years. It's like 5 pages of me. You can find me everywhere. I'm on literally every social media platform you can find. When I was first starting, YouTube had a whole bunch of social media platforms that you could share your YouTube videos to. And I opened accounts with every single one. And that's how I started my own algorithm going.
Dope. Thank you for so much coming on Hip Hop Happy
I
Hour
appreciate you.
podcast.
This was fun.
We definitely appreciate you. All y'all out there, go see her tomorrow night. Scott, where's the show going to be with Scarlett?
It's in let me just pull up the flyer real quick because it's in Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Oh shit, I'm from Pawtucket. I'm in Pawtucket
Nice.
right now.
Very good. Let me see. I just want to get the name of the club right. It's at Halo Lounge.
Yep, not too far from me. Halo Lounge.
And if you guys like slingshots, I'm gonna be pulling up in a couple.
Island.
You kind of broke up. I didn't hear that. You broke up a little bit. I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah, we're breaking up a tiny bit at the end here. But again, thank you and keep doing what you're doing, girl.
I appreciate you.
You have a good night.
You guys look out for me.
Everyone,
Veanamarie.com. That's where I'm at.
Check her out. Check